tonight on This Week in NASCAR.
The guy who is chasing history has done it tonight at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Don't engrave his name on this trophy just yet.
Can anyone stop him from making it 4 in a row? Michael, Chad, and Spencer weigh in. In Radioactive, Montoya threw out an idea to fix the car.
Do you think if I hit the fence I can fix it?
Twin starts now. This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. Hope you've had a great Monday. Glad you're with us here in the Speed Studios of This Week in NASCAR and Speed. Steve Burns with Jimmy Spencer, Chad Knaus. Congratulations, Mr. Knaus.
Thank you.
And Michael Waltrip, who looks like he's posing for his third grade picture with his collar all the way up to the top.
I want to be very attentive and astute. Do you know what happened this weekend that we haven't seen in 100 years? Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus won the first practice, won the second practice, won the third practice, won qualifying, and won the race.
Whoa,
I do not.
On the phone.
Wait a minute. I just got a phone call from Mike Helton. News. Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson are penalized 2 laps starting at Martinsville to give everybody a chance. Wow. Earth-breaking news, fans. NASCAR
Jimmy,
just called me on that. That's pretty cool.
Jimmy, this is a news story. You wouldn't see Peter Jennings do that, would you? This is
But you know, I mean, let's face it. We need to do something to handicap these guys.
They've got the biggest lead that anyone's ever had at this point in the chase, 90 points. But you know, Chad, we're smart enough to know you're going to Talladega and you're going to Martinsville. 90 points is nothing when you consider those 2 tracks.
No, the thing about it is you have to realize that, you know, a mechanical issue, a wreck on pit road, a bad pit call, anything, you know, somebody...
And you're subject to make those. We saw that at Chicago.
I've done it.
Or Kansas, wherever that was.
That 2-tire deal.
I did a little research today. 55 chase races in the history of the chase. That 48 team has scored 850 points more than any other team.
Well, I want to say this. You know, the fans say, you know, let's do something about the 48. We got to do something. Well, you know, what you have to do, if you're a competitor, you have to pick your pace up. The 48 is obviously, when they get to these last 10 races, they have their act together. And, you know, for NASCAR or anybody to say, we need to do something, the only thing they can do is make the other teams try to catch them.
Here's what I'll say about the 850-point comment you just made. Chad prepares his car the same way every week. It's perfect. He's got it set up. He's got it tuned. He loves it. He's happy with it. Jimmy Johnson, he made a comment the other day. Jimmy Johnson showed up at Dover and he was like a different world. He is able to elevate his game. There's not a whole lot better that Chad can do than he does every week. Jimmy comes in and he says, I'm going to race the heck out of this car. I Twitter, I don't know if you realize that or not.
MW55.
At the MW55, thank you very much. At the driver's meeting, I Twittered Dale Jr. picture. I took a picture of Jeff Gordon.
Danica Patrick is following you.
Yeah, I love that part. But listen, I took a picture of Jimmy Johnson during the driver's meeting, and he was like, no one pays attention to the driver's meeting.
Except Jimmy, right?
So
Jimmy
Chad,
Johnson was on it. And I told, you know what I Twittered, Steve? I wrote, 4th championship coming up.
Chad, so Michael mentioned it. You were on the pole. You won the race. You led all the practices. So was it a perfect weekend?
I wish I had never said that. I wish I had never.
Why?
I would have.
Because I've gotten so much grief, you know.
That's what everybody strives for, though, Chad.
Yeah, but Matt said that we wasn't perfect because we didn't lead every lap and stuff like that. I'm like, geez, you know, I mean, it was just a personal goal of ours. You know, it was something that, you know, when you, because see what happens is like, when,
well, really,
in my notebook, you know,
I didn't
you
think
see
about
the
what
practice
Matt
sheets
said.
That you get after every session, and you look at the first person at the line every week. You know, so every week I look at that and it's like, oh, we got a couple, oh, we missed that one. I always wanted to do that, and it was a personal goal of mine.
Is it the first time anyone's ever done that since that came out?
I would have to say no. I mean, it's the first time we've ever done it with.
But I mean, I don't remember. That's big.
We do a lot of practice shows on Speed. I don't remember it happening.
It is big, but I agree with what Matt said. You didn't lead all the laps.
I know. The only person that's done that is Burton and Jeff Bodine, right?
Yeah, Burton.
Jimmy, should we even look at the points? Yeah, let's look at the points.
Let's look at the.
We might as well.
Let's roll, and we want to see what the point lead is.
Let's just mean you have to keep.
90-point lead over Mark Martin. Line has moved. Greg Biffle said he was slightly offended last week now Kurt Busch and Juan Pablo Montoya have dropped below.
And Greg Biffle's really offended this.
Yeah, but if we look at this point system, this point system is the same as it's been all year long. You have to run good and get consistent. If you look at the Roush team, they haven't been as consistent as they need to be. Denny Hamlin, let's face it, he was a factor in a couple races. He made a mistake at California, and he had a problem at Charlotte this week with an engine. Casey Kane. So all in all, you can't have problems, Chad. Is that? I mean, that's
absolutely.
What it boils
Well,
down
if you look at it right there, if we have a bad race,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. He can invite 3 or 4 more people back in.
absolutely.
Right?
Well, yeah, if we have a bad race and the 5 has even a 15th place finish again, there's going to be 7 guys that are going to be battling for the championship again. This thing is so far from over. I just hope everybody realizes that we've got 5 races to go at some of the most difficult racetracks we go to. Texas is the fastest intermediate track we go to.
And Martinsville's going to be tough.
It is.
It's going to be a straight. But let me, Steve, in all seriousness, Jimmy Johnson has a flat tire. He maybe gets run into at Martinsville. He gets in the big one at Talladega. All of a sudden, that line that's up at 4th, it's going to drop to 7th.
The sun might get in his eyes.
But no, seriously, though, quickly, and Chad, I agree with you, because a championship, whether you're at a Saturday night track or Sprint Cup, there's still a lot on the line. And a guy could, Jimmy could be lapping a car, and the guy could blow up. There is a lot of things that can happen in a race. 500 miles of Texas, 500 at Talladega, you're right. There is a lot of racing left.
We were 157 points behind the 24 car in 2006 at this point, and came back and won the championship.
157?
157.
Think back to when Kawicki.
Can we move that line to 157? Let's get a.
Yeah, but think back to when Kawicki was
picture of the week.
270
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's roll.
Hang on,
Okay.
Spence.
All right, go ahead.
Here's your chance to win a picture of the 48 win on Saturday night. That jacket is slimming. To enter the Picture of the Week giveaway, go to speedtv.com, click the show's tab at the top, go to the This Week in NASCAR page, and you'll see an email at the top to email us, our tab that is. Put points leader in the subject line, and you're entered to win. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. The winner will be revealed next week. The Jimmy Johnson picture from California goes to Canada.
Can I enter that contest?
You may not. When we come back, hear what the driver of the 48 wanted to do to his crew chief when he was getting passed in Radioactive. Chad laughed. This restart proved to have big chase implications for both the 42 and the 5. These boys will break it down. And later, a debate. Do smaller restrictor plates make safer racing at Talladega?
That's not a debate.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Brought to you in part by Target, expect more, pay less, and by Wrangler, proud sponsor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
Glad you're back with us on This Week in NASCAR. In the open of the show, you heard Juan Pablo Montoya say, if I hit the wall, would it fix the car? We've had similar questions about this television show, and Chad laughed as we went to break because, well, Jimmy Johnson had some harsh words for him. All that and more in this week's Radioactive.
Radio, check 1, 2. 10-4, got you. Check 1, 2. I got you there. You got me okay? Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to chilly Charlotte. It's going to be a fast and fun night tonight. Bet it's nice and warm inside that race car. Kind of. It's still not warm yet. It's better than certainly where you're at. You got no idea. Yeah, I imagine up there it's pretty tough. Try to get as much heat in those tires as you can. Awful cold out here. All right, I'm back with you. Simple. Had to put on more clothes. We all know what we want, man. They don't give any points halfway, though. Let's get to the end.
They are sprinting across the start-finish line. Still side by side, Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin to turn 1.
Even with you outside. Door, right rear, clear. Still around your bumper. You're clear. Awesome job on that start, bud. Awesome job. Thank you. 3097, pick up 210, sir. I will come down pit road and strangle you if you're going to be like this. I was trying to tell you did a good job. Go on up, go up. Okay, go. What the hell blew up? The 99. Guys, each and every one of you, I owe you an apology. Bob, you don't say a word, buddy. We got 16 wins because of your brain. We're a team, guys. We will move on. You ready? Easy, stacking. Nope. Green. Come on. Stay in line there.
Juan Pablo Montoya is in big trouble.
There's only 4 cars on the track behind you. Desperately need a caution here in a little bit. Do you think if separated the bumper from the quarter panel, I wouldn't hit it because it might knock it in on the tire. Yeah, it's gotten tight again. It may have something to do with that front end, I don't know. It runs harder or running fast than it does running slow. Yeah, 10-4, let's the 6 set does. Remember your blend. Coming outside, got a pack of 4 coming. Outside, 2 wide. Outside, all clear. I lost the ignition box getting up to speed. Had to switch it over. Sounds like you're done coming off that road if you had all that going on.
For Jimmy Johnson, the 6th time he will take the checkered flag at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Unbelievable, boys. Woo! Perfect weekend, dude. Passed at the qualifying every practice session and won the race. Awesome job.
And everybody thinks it's all roses all the time.
He's going to strangle you.
He was going to kill me. I can't believe he wanted to kill me. But that's one of the cool things that Jimmy and I have got. You know, we can speak openly, and I know when he's upset, and when he knows when I'm upset. And when that stuff comes out, like you just kind of let everything die back down, and we usually recover pretty well. But I'll tell you, the intensity was high during that race. You could see it in the way the guys were driving. You could hear it in their voices. You could hear, you know, the panic during some of the pit calls. There was a lot of stress going on, and it was pretty darn cold, to be honest with you, too. So there was a lot of things happening right there that was very stressful for a lot of the people.
Michael, I want to ask you about your jackman, Tony Cardamone. I read that he was injured. Fill us in on that. What happened and how is he now?
Well, I was coming in my pit and Brian Vickers was leaving his. We made a little contact and it sort of put everything into a state of chaos. People didn't know what was going to happen exactly. Tony went down, has a hairline fracture of his ankle, and they won't be able to jack the rest of the year. But I called Tony Saturday night after the race and asked him how he was, and and you know this, Chad, all he wanted to talk about was, darn, you know, I hate we messed that stop up. That was, you know, we were running good. We were on the lead lap. We had a chance to get a good finish. I hate I messed that stop up. I'm like, dude, your ankle's broken. Get over it, you know? Yeah. And I just love that type of attitude. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough to go to Walter Reed up in Washington and see the troops that come back from Iraq and over in the Middle East and see their attitude. They're hurt, but they want to be with their guys.
They want to go back.
They want to go back and get with their guys, and that's the way Tony was. He's just like, dude, we messed up the stop. I just know it could have been a good stop, and there he is laying in the hospital with a broken leg, you know, a broken ankle.
Speedy recovery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Our man Greg Biffle had a rough night, got wrecked at California and had another rough night at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Finished 16th, but, you know, guys, I want to ask about, there were a lot of crazy moments in that race, including this one, 4-wide racing. I mean,
well, there was in
wide doesn't work.
To the end of the race.
But in Tony's defense, there was plenty of room. There was a whole. You saw the lanes painted on the straightaway. There was a whole lane over there for him. So Tony didn't have anything to do with this accident, and he got out of there.
Did you hear what Chad said? I was late in the race.
He was going for it.
Well, look how sanitary this is, though.
I know Ryan Newman pretty well with the way he races. If that wouldn't have been his boss right there, I don't believe he'd have lifted. They'd have been 4 wide going through there.
Well, and that's a great example right there. Folks at home, you need to watch that. Biffle was relying on the 12 to do his job. Biffle came off the corner. He was next to the 12. The 12, he assumed, would just come off the corner, but the 12 ran into the wall. And when he ran into the wall, he bounced off of it and hit Biffle and wrecked Biffle. So Greg was just saying, I'm driving my car. I know we're 3 wide, but I'm going to keep going the right direction. I trust you two will as well. And the 12 wasn't able to hold up his end of the bargain.
It was in the Malachi Crunch.
He was.
Mickey Tuscadero, you're in a much better mood than you were last week.
Yeah, last week was hard on me.
Well, we just talked about the crazy 4-wide racing. More highlights coming up, and we'll preview Martinsville. You'll see plenty of action on that tough half-mile bull ring Sunday. But will it ruin anyone's title hopes? This week in NASCAR. We'll be right back. Time to take a look at the highlights from the Lowe's Motor Speedway Banking 500 under the lights this past Saturday night. This right here had huge implications. A restart on lap 124. Car starts stacking up. Montoya gets run into from behind by Mark Martin. Damage to both cars. And guys, that's going to had a huge points implication.
Yeah, a lot of damage to the 42, and it blowed the quarter panel out, and in turn, it just really, really slowed the car down. Here they are trying to repair it.
Let me just
with another quarter panel, Michael.
Let me tell y'all how difficult those restarts are. I mean, the majority of the night I restarted 32nd or 33rd, so I'm looking at 30 guys trying to work their way down the front straightaway at Lowe's. First of all, it's flat. So getting the 850 horsepower hooked up in 35-degree weather is a little difficult. And then secondly, you got to make 2 turns, and everybody has to make them together. And to me, it's surprising that wrecks don't occur more often, but when one does happen, I'm not surprised. And I just think the fans that watch, and when you watch on TV, sometimes you take things for granted. And that's how good the drivers in Sprint Cup are. But darn, it's a difficult job just to get a restart going on.
I think, it's easy to look at that photograph or that clip and see the damage on the 42 car and be like, man, it's not that bad. What's the big deal? Let me tell you something. The aerodynamic side force that these cars create, because that quarter panel is like a big barge board. I mean, it steers the car. It catches the car as it's going around the corner. And he could not hang on to that thing after that. He almost spun out multiple times just because of that. And then if you look at the 5 car, they had a big hole punched into the front of their car. And that made their car very, very tight, because instead they were going up over the top of the car, creating the downforce, it was going in through the inside of the car, creating high pressure underneath the hood of the car and lifting it up. So it was a handful for both of those guys from that point forward.
It was a Mexican high that was coming up, not to be confused with a Canadian low.
An occluded front, and you're 1/8 Canadian. Denny Hamlin, tough luck 2 weeks in a row, crashed. He said that was his fault at California. This week, guys, good run, big lead, but the engine breaks.
All year long, this car has had great runs and a lot of difficulty with parts failures. A lot of parts failures with this team all year long. An engine here, we had a dry shaft at a driveline problem. Remember last year, ignition boxes. So whatever Gibbs is doing right, they're not doing right when it comes to the maintenance of the car, whatever the process.
The thing that I think people have to realize is we were sitting there in our pre-race prep, and I was talking with Scott Maxim, who's our lead engine tuner at Hendrick Motorsports. He sits in our transporter, and he's like, hey, what's your water temperature going to be tonight? And I said, well, I'm thinking, X. And he's like, I think you need to be a little bit cooler than that. And I'm like, well, why is that? He said, with the cool temperatures, the engines are going to be running a lot faster, burning a lot more fuel, and a lot more hotter inside there, and we're concerned about valve seats and valve springs and all that kind of stuff. So at the last minute, I went out there and I took tape off to make sure that we were going to have the water temperature that we wanted. We ran the coolest we have all year long, but we're also running 2890s or 2880s at the end of that race. Qualifying speeds, and that's why you have to do that. You have to prepare for the long run.
Was that Scott Maxim that just called, Chad?
No. Phone just rang. It was actually Booty Barker.
Booty Barker.
Scott Maxim.
Scott Maxim.
He's got a great magazine. I've watched it. I've never really picked one up, but it looks kind of crazy.
I've heard it's good. All right, 2 tires versus 4 tires. 2 tires worked well for several guys Saturday night. The first to try and maintain the lead was Matt Kenseth. Jeff Gordon also had success with 2.
We're still there halfway through the race, and we went 30 laps of a green flag run, and the caution came out. We were running 3rd. We came up here and I said, okay, boys, 4 tires. We took 4, and like 12 other guys took 2 tires. I was like, whoa, what? I didn't expect that. It blew me away. I was shocked at that.
What did the car do with the 2 versus the 4 at the time?
For us, when we did it?
Yeah, for those guys.
Well, I mean, a lot of them were just trying to get track position. They weren't able to maintain it, but they got out there for a little while.
Yeah, and you know what I like? I want to go back a little bit. Denny Hamlin, loved his interview after the race. I mean, talking about how I just knocked
You just knocked just hold it over your head.
We're brought to you by 50% will save you 15 minutes.
That is a great TV moment.
If you only looked like a caveman.
Awesome.
You're still bitter about that, though.
Oh, I'm mad. I wanted to be the caveman guy, but now I guess I sort of am. So I'm going to stop talking now and just smile.
All right, that was great. Casey Kane was very good in the middle to late stages of the race, building a 7-second lead at one point. Castrol edge, smart move of the race goes to Kane, who, after a green flag pit stop, had to switch ignition boxes because the motor had stuttered. And Jimmy, talk about, I mean, that's something that just about every driver has encountered at one time or another.
Oh, so much. And you're seeing this a lot happen. We saw last year at this racetrack, the 99 lose ignition systems. We saw the 11. We saw the 9 car lose ignition systems at Martinsville. a lot of power going through this stuff. But fortunately, we have 2 complete systems. Everything's separate. Casey caught it quick, lost 2 or 3 seconds, but you have to have that fail-safe system in case that happens.
Yeah, and
Look, the sign's back.
It's
Oh, cool.
and it's odd
that Lizard
typically
put it up.
You see issues with your ignition boxes and your coils and things of that nature when it's hot out. And as cool as what it was, it's weird. It's almost like maybe something inside the box or wire had been chafed or rubbing against something and broke a spark somewhere. That's kind of odd to have that happen.
But you got to love Casey Kane. You know, not only is he up there against the wall leading the race, he leaves pit road when a lot of things are going on. You know, you're thinking he pulls it into second gear and all of a sudden it starts missing. He might like, well, did the gas not pick up? What is happening? But he really cool and calmly switched his box and then on the way he went. So that's a move that you see a guy make that you just can't take it for granted. That's how good some of these guys are.
Sure.
When we come back, a look at the great teammate battle for the lead late in the race. That analysis coming up next. There was a big wreck in the nationwide race on Friday night and a familiar face in Victory Lane. Highlights ahead. We'll be right back.
The smart move of the race has been presented by Castrol Edge. Think with your dipstick. Upgrade to new Castrol Edge Advanced Synthetic. Nothing offers better wear and protection.
NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot JR. Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace, Handsome Hermie Sadler, Wendy Venturini. Sunday, 11 a.m. from the Martinsville Speedway here on Speed. Not sure what we're doing, but I think we're still breaking down highlights.
We're breaking it down, Steve.
You are. This is broadcast excellent.
This is funny.
All right, let's move ahead to the highlights. Pit stops with about 40 laps to go. The Geico great. Be quiet, hang on. Geico greatest pit crew is the 48 team.
How about that, huh?
They barely beat Casey Kane.
That's where, I mean, I go back and I push and I push and I push and I push our guys and I push Jimmy. The race starts on Friday. It starts on Friday. That pit selection right there won us the race off of pit road, and that put us in a position to take control of the race with 40 laps to go. It all started on Friday with getting on the pole.
And again, NASCAR is purposely rewarding the pole sitter by putting that line so close to the first pit. If NASCAR truly wanted to say, okay, it isn't an advantage, what you get for winning the pole is a trophy and some money. That's it. But they're saying you can have that pit and we're going to give you an advantage over the field because of the way you qualified. Because all he had to do was launch to that line that was only a few feet, maybe 100 feet ahead of where he was. But the other cars had momentum. Had the line been further down, Jimmy wouldn't have won that race off pit road.
There's a lot of racetracks that we go to where that line is a considerable amount further down pit road, and you don't get that advantage.
But we saw it in California, and we saw it this weekend. And so it's something that you might take for granted. Where's that line? But it's also something that NASCAR says, we're comfortable with the pole sitter having a bit of an advantage here.
But it's, like I say, it's different at every track. That's what's confusing to me, is why it's always different.
Well, some tracks are longer than others.
Really?
Yes.
I never catch that.
Yeah, and some of them are.
Are you enjoying this, Jimmy?
It's fine.
It's great.
This is great, man. I hope your fans enjoy it as much as me.
All right. Restart with 17 laps to go. Great racing between teammates Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. 2 laps side by side.
You know, and fans, I want to tell you something. I don't know why you keep asking me, emailing me. They're not racing. What do you call this? This here is racing for the win. The 48-24, the 9-17. Absolutely fantastic racing at 190 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, fans. You have your hands full as a driver at this situation right here. That's all I can tell you. You got your hands full.
We're in 29-20s right here.
29-20, man. And look, that's exciting.
You know, I love Formula One on speed, but I watched the leader go by this yesterday morning with a 4-second lead. We're talking 15 laps to go in a 500-mile race, been at it for 3 hours, and we got the whole field packed in behind the 2 leaders battling side by side for the win. And you know, don't take it for granted. Again, I'm on this don't take it for granted. I want everybody to know how talented these guys are. Jimmy Johnson had his hands full up under Jeff Gordon. He wasn't just trying to pass him. He was trying to pass him, and he was trying to make sure he didn't run into him. And if he run into him, so sorry, Jeff. You know, that's part of it. But if he runs into him, where do they wind up? They're 10th or 15th by the time they get their cars gathered up. What great racing NASCAR is compared to any other motorsport in any part of the world.
Well, Michael, Juan Pablo said it. And, you know, I think that when a driver of Formula One caliber champion, IndyCar champion says this is the hardest form of motorsports in the world, testify right there. That's
Good enough
true
for me.
testimony.
No, it's awesome. And I love the fact that we are on the stage with the lights on and the fans watching, and we got guys running side by side for the win with just a handful of laps to go.
That was awesome.
Kyle Busch revealed this weekend that he's been battling pneumonia for the last week and a half. He finished 8th on Saturday night. On Friday night, he was first.
A lot of sparks. Oh, no, contact. The 38 gets into Darnell. Leffler loses it. Here comes everybody else. Look out.
It's not over.
No, it's not over.
There's Kenseth involved.
Logano gets involved for the second week in a row, but this damage is much worse than last week's. Look at this. Is it Will Ferrell? No, it's the NASCAR safety crew. Boy, he was hustling out there, and look at this. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Tom Cruise.
He is hustling now.
For the 7th time this season, Kyle Busch will see the checkered flag here at Lowe's Motor Speedway as he brings the number 18. He wins the Dollar General 300.
Awesome job, thank you. This car was on rails, man.
Man, that little rescue guy was cool looking. He was on it. Hey, Kyle Busch won Friday night. He had a top 10 finish on Saturday night. And did you know what he did on Sunday? He went and won one of the coolest races that any short track racer would aspire to win. He went and won the Winchester 400 on Sunday afternoon. Been there 3 years, tried to win it, been close to winning before, but pulled it off on Sunday. So if you're a race fan and you want to know a guy that just likes to go race his car, Kyle Busch is your guy on Sunday because he went to Winchester and won that 400.
In Indiana, that's a fast racetrack. Well, the Camping World Truck Series boys back in action after a couple weekends off, and it's here on Speed Saturday at 12:30. Chris Devoda has the setup show. Camping World Truck Series from Martinsville. Join us for that here on Speed. When we come back, will we see a similar bump and run finish at Martinsville this week? We'll ask the boys what they think. And with Jimmy Johnson's recent dominance, is that a good or bad thing for NASCAR? We'll ask the experts when we come back.
The Greatest Pit Crew has been presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. Well, Jimmy Johnson has won the fall Martinsville race in 4 of the 5 years in the chase, including the last 3. Jimmy Johnson has won 5 of the last 6 Martinsville races, including earlier this year.
This racetrack has hosted NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races every year since the division's inception in 1949.
Green flag goes in the air, and Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch going to race down to turn number 1.
Turn really good to the middle on cold tires. Now as I get going there, it stops turning. Still real good though. Sort of getting a little tight in the center, Mike. Having to check up, use the brake a little bit before gas on exit. 10-4, I'm watching the brakes. Everything looks good.
Banging on each other. The patience for the moment has been checked at the door.
I have to let him go here, because if he touches me again, I'm going to freaking knock his head off. I don't know what I need. I suck. I can't get off the corner.
Trouble, turn 4, getting turned around. Kyle Busch is smoking it. Johnson to the inside of Hamlin. He bangs it, and Jimmy Johnson takes the lead with the bump and run in turn 3.
Great job. I know you mad, but be smart about this. You just saw you won.
The Hendrick domination continues at Martinsville Speedway as Jimmy Johnson wins.
Hey, JJ, thank you, man. Got a boss. 5 years, and you're the man.
I love Martinsville, man. Smallest track we go to, and what I like about Martinsville more than anything is the fans. I mean, they're right there. They're right next to the racetrack. The cars are all lined up on the thing, right by the front stretch wall, and that is, to me, the ultimate place for a fan to watch a race, because we saw the 11 and the 48 racing last time in the spring for the win, the bump and run.
But this is some of the coolest racing ever.
Well,
both these race car drivers, Jimmy, I don't know if you agree, they both did exactly what they had.
That was what I was getting.
They were just going to try to win the race.
And people want to say, what the heck did he hit the 11 for? Well, you know what? The 11 wasn't as fast as he needed to be. And he knew that he was in a position to try to win the race. So he said, I have to hold this 48 up. Well, the 48 says, now hang on a second. I need to try to get by this guy. He saw just enough room. And as he goes to go in there, the 11 comes for a little defensive move. Bam, they get together. What a great finish.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. And you know what I liked about the 48? which is your guy, not only did he did he go in there, but he tried to
get away.
I'm going to go in the infield if I have to, but I am coming in there. I just want you to know I'm going to be very respectful, and I'll be over here in that grass if you need me to be, but I'm coming in.
Well, plus, Michael, the thing is that it wasn't he didn't bump him and then 11 come right back. He drove away from him. So there's a lot to be said about moving a guy and driving away.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about that. No, he wasn't mad.
I bet you Jimmy Johnson was thinking he better run away.
It's like, I'm going to go like hell.
And Denny's
I think that's what I told him.
I believe in my heart, if Denny gets the opportunity, he would love to retaliate, redo the same thing to Jimmy. It would be the greatest thing for him because that's what they like. That's the competitiveness in them.
Which brings me to my next point, and Jimmy mentioned this after the race Saturday night. Hey, we could go to Martinsville, somebody bumps into us, tears up a valve stem, we're in trouble.
Look at this right here. One of the best drivers in NASCAR, Kyle Busch, he makes a mistake and wipes out Scott Speed. Easily, the same thing could happen. You might be racing with Kyle Busch, and he gets his wheels hopping, and he runs into Jimmy. Please believe me, we've got the next 2 races, or 2 of the next 5 races at Martinsville and Talladega. Don't take anything for granted.
And the thing I think everybody has to realize, and you see a little bit from this footage, but this doesn't even give it justice of what we're going through right now. When these guys are driving these cars, it's a slugfest. Every flippin' lap. They do not give anything. It's all take, and they just beat the crap out of each other every single lap. Right there, you saw 5 guys spin out. It happens 5 times a lap, every lap for 500 laps around Martinsville. Somewhere around that racetrack, somebody's getting beat on, and they just don't always wreck. It's brutal.
It'd be very easy to go to Martinsville and not spin out. But they are driving as hard as they can and as fast as they can. There's a big difference between running a 21-second lap. You can run 21-second laps at Martinsville and never spin out. These guys are running in the low 20s consistently. And that is why they're on the edge all the time.
And they're forcing their brakes to work harder, which is difficult.
I love Martinsville.
Steve, can I just throw this out before we go to break?
Don't take it for granted?
Yeah, don't take it for granted.
Oh.
Double file restarts, buddy.
Wow,
shootout style.
That's cool, shootout style. And there's for sure tires spinning.
Why is it called shootout style?
I don't know, but that's why you're sitting in that chair.
Because they got it from
You bring that up.
All-Star.
Up next, Jimmy Johnson is gunning for his 4th straight championship. Is it better for NASCAR that he wins the title or someone else? Plus, restrictor plates have always been a controversial topic. Are smaller plates at Talladega the right move? We'll find out. Take a look at what's headed your way on Speed Thursday and Friday. NASCAR Live, Sprint Cup practice at 11:30. That's 90 minutes. Trackside at 7 Eastern. All those times Eastern here on Speed. Let's take a look at the chase drivers and how they fare at Martinsville. A lot of wins at the top, boys. Jeff Gordon, a 7-time winner. Jimmy Johnson, 6. Look at the top 10s there. That's a lot of horsepower.
That's incredible. And Jeff Gordon started this all. 33 starts, 27 top 10s. Jimmy Johnson, 15 starts, 14 top 10s. That goes to show you, that started back with the Jeff Gordon, Jeff Gordon, Ray Abraham days.
Yep.
Told him to be concise. What do you want him to do? He's not going to get any more concise than yep.
That's it. I love this part of the show, hot laps. Don't take it for granted. Hot laps. Every one of these guys is going to answer these 3 questions, and we begin with Jimmy Spencer. We're going to go to a smaller restrictor plate at Talladega. Good or bad?
I don't think there's a whole lot of difference. I think they're trying to slow the cars down to stop what happened in the spring race, and hopefully it'll work. Just a freak accident.
Chad, good or bad? Smaller restrictor.
Ultimately, it's going to be worse, I feel. It's going to give the drivers less of an opportunity to separate themselves. I feel like if we could figure out a way to be more like the Truck Series, open up the restrictor plate size, and slow the cars down in another fashion, we would have better, safer racing.
Michael.
Good, although it doesn't matter. What happened we saw in the spring was 2 guys learned how to push each other. That's the new dynamic. Can you get hooked up with the right guy at the right time to drive yourself to the front? You're not going to separate them. It doesn't matter what restrictor plates you put on them. It's because there's 43 cars that can run in the lead pack. In the trucks, there's 20, and it makes a different dynamic. So good, and it doesn't matter.
All right, second question. We'll start with Michael and head back this way. Goodyear apparently testing some bigger tires. Will bigger tires help the racing?
No. I think the racing is fine the way it is. Bigger tires will be costly to the owners. I'm not in favor of bigger tires.
Chad Knaus.
Although there are some things that are bigger on the cars I would like to see.
Chad.
I think it could, but I think it could open up, if we were able to increase the wheel diameter, I think it could help us. We have a lot of brake issues, we have a lot of spindle issues, we have a lot of wheel bearing issues with this car. I think if we could go to a bigger wheel, we could work on our brake package and the packaging of everything in there, and I think it would help us a little bit. I think it might open up the possibility for a little better tire at a lot of different racetracks that we do go to, but I'm not a Goodyear engineer, so I can't be honest.
I never question Goodyear. I think it's a good decision on their part. They're always working hard. We saw the fiasco we had last year at Indianapolis, and this year they fixed it, so I have a lot of faith in Goodyear, and they'll come out on top with it.
All right, Jimmy Spencer, some people are saying that Jimmy Johnson's success is bad for the sport. What do you think?
Well, that's a double-edged sword for me. It is bad for the sport. But Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus-led team are playing by the rules. When you're playing by the rules, end of story. It's almost like the Indianapolis Colts coming and playing Alabama football team. It's not going to happen. That's not happening in NASCAR. Those cars are going through inspection. They're going through the process. End of story. So to me, some fans are saying it's bad. I think that the rest of the team's got to pick it up.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm in the middle of it, so it's difficult for me to comment on. But
do you even care?
Honestly, no. But I think that if you look at Roger Federer, if you look at Tiger Woods, people come out in droves to watch these guys, and they dominate their sports and have been for a period of time. And I'm very, very thankful to be a part of the special thing that we've got going on right now with the 48 car. And I hope that people enjoy it and see what it is that we're doing and respect it, even if they don't like it.
Michael, good or bad for the sport, the 48 success?
Well, if Dale Jr. was winning all the races, would we be having this conversation? There's people you want to see dominate, and there's people you want to see win. We are watching history being made, folks. He's going for a 4th championship, and he's doing it in a way, and I say he, and I mean they, because you deserve a lot of credit, and everybody gives you a lot of credit. And I think that's why sometimes... Oh, never mind. It's just fun to see.
Chad's got actually a secret to his success, and we have that shot here.
Oh, man.
It came.
That's right, baby.
There it is. Pimpin' ain't easy.
That's my 48 thinking cap.
Kenny Wallace had that on our show, NASCAR Racing. And I was playing with the tail, and I got a lot smarter after I played with that tail.
See? All right, when Twin returns, we'll take a pit stop at Martinsville and discuss the unique pit road there. It's a competitive place in its own right. You're watching Twin. We'll be right back here on Speed. One of the unique aspects of the Martinsville Speedway, Chad, I'll start with you because I've seen you pick different pits, different strategies. It's a big curved pit road. A lot of people think the advantage is to be out towards between turns 1 and 2, but I've seen you at the other end as well. Yeah, if you look, when you're coming in, entering through 3 and 4, you follow the same radius that you've actually got on the racetrack, and then the whole front stretch is straight, and then once you get to the entry of turn 1, it goes with another radius around there. So the best pit box is pit box number 1, hands down. The safest pit boxes are on the front straightaway where you've got a little bit more room to get out there and guys aren't trying to turn to the left. So it's very, very congested, but that being said, it's considerably better than what it was before. As a driver, is it more difficult to pit in a pit box? It's in a curved part of the track?
Yeah, certainly. There's just another dynamic. You're used to dodging cars and getting into your box on a straight line. Now all of a sudden you got to be turning and dodging cars and getting to your box. So it's more difficult. I think if the people at Martinsville saw what the people at Bristol did first by just making 2 pit roads become 1, they would have saved a lot of money and done the same thing and maybe made racing better, because if you've got a problem during the green flag run, you're just on one pit road or the other. But they spent the money, they made it all the way around, and we deal with it.
But by doing that, they gave us a nice garage stall for the guys.
Yeah, but what I like about this pit road is if you look at it, it's a lot safer for the competitors. And years ago, that pit wall was really, really small. And the thing is, as long as the drivers and the crew chiefs pay attention, we don't have any more problems on pit road. It's a lot safer pit road for everybody.
It's time now for the ZMAX Fuel for Thought email segment. Question number 1 goes to Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy, on a new set of tires, what is the piece of tape or fluorescent mark that goes across the rim and the tire?
Well, it's to show you it's 12 o'clock. You know, and these guys are putting these tires on and they're not clocking it at 12 o'clock. I don't understand it. No, what it is, fans, that stripe tells them where the hole opening is. There's 5 holes in the wheel that goes onto the hub. That indicates where it goes on so the pit crew can pop that on, make quicker pit stops.
Question number 2 for Michael Waltrip. When one car is used in multiple races, do they replace the windshield or just add more tear-offs?
No, you have to replace the windshield. And in fact, so many of the parts and pieces on a car are now changed after one race. There's very little that's left. Sometimes you got to put half a body on one just because of the fact that NASCAR's rules are so stringent. You have to stay within their rules, as Chad knows.
No, why
that wasn't
Chad
necessary.
In there?
Well, did they take your car again this week, or did they leave you alone?
Yeah, 3 weeks in a row.
We've won.
After qualifying, when do the teams choose their pit stall, Chad? And how long after each selection does the next team have to make their pick?
All right, typically what the deal is you come in the next day, and 1 hour after the garage opens, you pick your pit. Unless it's an impound, then you pick directly after qualifying. After you go up there and pick your time, you have a reasonable amount of time for the next guy to make his selection. He can look over the sheets, see where everybody's at, and try to find the best place for him.
You know what I love about our sport? I had a friend came to Kansas and was asking why they showed Chad walking up and down pit road. What's he doing? I said, he's trying to find the best pit. He's going to make sure that the pit he picks has a timing line in the right place. It has the right guy, the right way to exit his pit. That's how intense what we do is. You have to know every detail and you got to pay attention to every detail. And so if you ever have a question as a fan and you say, why don't y'all da-da-da-da, we already thought that for the most part.
Who's calling now?
I don't know.
Somebody famous.
I've got to call in after this. Just so you know. I've got another interview here.
Oh, okay. It's a little bigger name on the other line.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are we over here? Top
yeah,
liver?
what are we?
Come on.
Here's your chance to win a picture of the 48 win on Saturday night. To enter the Picture of the Week giveaway, go to speedtv.com, click the Shows tab at the top, go to the This Week in NASCAR page, and you'll see an email tab at the top to email us. Put Points Leader in the subject line, and you'll be entered to win. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. Do you have to do it now, Chad?
Yeah, let's go to break so Chad can make
hurry.
a call.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Brought to you in part by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing. This is the last week to enter for weekly giveaways. This week, win one of 5 Honda generators. And by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles. Now at your local dealer.
Next Monday night, the Biff is back with us here on This Week in NASCAR. Join Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Spencer, myself, Monday night at 8 o'clock after NASCAR Race Hub. Chad likes the new set, by the way. You know, Chad, I was teasing about the championship trophy, but I think I agree with Michael. What we're witnessing is, and I agree with Jimmy, you guys are at the top of the sport right now. You have been for 4 years, and until somebody steps up to beat you, that's the way it is.
You know, look, I mean, we're very fortunate. We love what we do. We've got a great place in which to work. Mr. Hendrick offers us everything that we need to go out there and run as competitive as we possibly can. We don't want anybody in the sport to dislike us. You know, don't dislike us because we do well. Don't dislike us because I think if you're a race fan, watch the race. Because there is some great racing going on right now. I think we see it every single weekend, 3 and 4 wide, battling for the leads all the time. And I think I think what we've got going on right now in our sport, period, is a great thing.
That's like Michael saying, don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Right. And I mean, the hair, I mean, it's special. It's not my fault.
Speaking of special, you'll be back in the broadcast booth, I'm assuming, for the Camping World Truck Series race.
Just love Martinsville. Think about last year. We're talking about Jimmy Johnson racing off to this championship. On the last lap last year at Martinsville, Johnny Benson got spun around. Lost 90-some points on the last lap coming. He was going to run second or third. He got spun out and ran 22nd or third. He lost close to 100 points in one turn. That's why I said earlier, Martinsville could play serious implications in this championship.
Well, 22 races, straight races that a Chase competitor has won. Is it going to be 23 at Martinsville? Be interesting to see.
Join us Thursday and Friday at 11:30 on Friday from Martinsville. We'll answer question.